our reopening plan with the guidelines set forth by the by DESE, which is the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So we don't have to follow them by the letter. We don't have to follow every little thing, but we are trying to align ourselves as best we can. Being a private school, we're trying to follow their lead with the resources that we have compared to a public school. So our agenda for this evening, as soon as I am done going through this, I'm going to turn it over to Elaine Driscoll, who is our principal. Then we are going to go into what to expect in our early childhood program by Sue Trugy, who is the vice principal and director of our early childhood program. We're going to go into what to expect in elementary by Jessica Bishop, our vice principal. And we are going to go into health and safety with Kristen Baker, who's a member of our administrative team. Moving forward, we're going to cover that with Misha Levitt. She's going to go over service agreements and decisions moving forward. Now, as for questions and answers, we're going to ask that you please hold all questions and answers till the end. Oh, we have the answers, you have the questions. Hold all questions until the end, and then we'll have you put them in the chat, and we will answer as many as we can. And I have some guidelines for that later as well. So with that, I'm going to turn you over to Elaine Driscoll. Give me 1 second, hold on, sorry.
Okay. Well, good evening, my dear friends and parents and children. I thank you for joining us this evening. I do deeply apologize. We have been working so diligently on all of this, and to have the last half hour be what it was more stressful than the whole situation of COVID. Thank you for bearing with us. We've got a lot to share with you this evening. I want to welcome you to the 2020-2021 school year. It's a different year. And the school, as you know, will look very different. And I want to talk to you a little bit about a broad sweeping overview. As we prepared for the new school year, our goal was to deliver a safe, full-day, full-time instruction to all students. So in order to do that, we set that mission, that vision out at the very beginning. We knew what our parameters were and we knew what our goal was. So God willing, we have accomplished that at this point. Our mission continues to be to educate the whole child academically, socially, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And I know this year in particular, our children are in great need of social and emotionally development because they've been home as long as they've been home. So I'm asking the teachers to do a lot of extra work in that area this year. It's very important to the development of children, and they've been in the house for a long time. We teach our children, we equip them to become Christ-centered leaders. We expose them to many different methods of instruction to determine and identify their strongest gifts. By the time they graduate in 5th grade, I want their gifts identified, and we want to have worked with them in those areas. One of the things that's important to me as the administrator is to accomplish this year is for the students to feel safe and secure and loved in school. The world out there right now, it can be a very frightening place to a child. I want them to come through the doors of Mount Hope, knowing that we're here for them, that we love them, that they are safe while they're here, and that they are secure while they are here, and leave the world outside. We are reopening in a 3-phased approach. And I haven't attached dates to this 3 stages because we don't know where we're headed with the COVID, but this is our approach. Phase 1, classrooms are open. Art, music, and chapel. Your children will have each of these. We have not determined the platform yet, whether it's in-service delivery, in-classroom delivery, or Zoom, So we are working on that still, because remember, all of this is still very much clay on the wheel and things change daily. Lunch and aftercare will be in phase 2. What does that mean? It will not be in the month of September. Let's get the children settled into classrooms and in their specials. In phase 3, probably the first of the year or afterward, would be a gym and a computer class. We are planning, just so that you are aware of it, of offering some virtual classes for enrichment after school. Okay, we are also preparing a full-day program of virtual instruction for your children. Given a moment's notice, if I say to the staff, your children will be home tomorrow for the next couple of weeks, the teachers will be prepared going into the school year. You will get a daily schedule of what the day looks like. They are prepared with 2 weeks worth of instruction. The likelihood of this happening is great. The staff is prepared with their COVID bag of instruction. If we go virtual, make sure that the equipment that you have is compatible with ours. I know a lot of the teachers in the elementary level are using the Google Chrome. The distance learning protocol, as I just said to you, will be increased substantially if we have to go back to a total virtual program. What do I mean by that? Just what I said before. They will have a whole day worth of instruction. They should be learning between 180 and 240 minutes per day, and that includes homework. So we can talk more about that as the year goes on. That's the broad sweeping overview, and now I'll turn you over to my vice principals, who will give you a little more detail. God bless you. Thank you for joining us this evening.
All right, I'm going to turn you over to Sutruji for what to expect in early childhood.
We welcome all of you this evening. We're looking forward to meeting you at your child's assigned door in a few weeks. Teachers will be wearing a mask, their temperature will have been taken, and the COVID health survey will have been filled out by all teachers. Moving on to drop-off and pickup. Unfortunately, parents will not be allowed to enter the building. The children will be dropped off to their teacher at an assigned door. Arrival times and pickup times are staggered, as we will use 4 separate entrances for all of the early childhood children. Children will be dropped off and picked up at the same entrance every day. And more details will be available once classroom assignments are finalized. Within a week, you will receive your child's class color that your child will be attending this year, and all the other procedures that we have in place for all of you. So not to worry, this is all new to all of us, and we'll get through it together. It is very important that drop-off and pickup occur on time. Your cooperation and effort in this area to schedule times will help us keep everybody safe. We understand that the assigned times may present some short gaps in times to drop off siblings, but there's no other way to get the children in the building safely. And as I said, we do have staggered times, and there is always especially at pickup time, there's always a 15-minute leeway for that time. In our classroom, the early childhood children are encouraged but not required to wear masks at this time. The classes are divided into 2 groups within each classroom, and every effort will be made to limit the student interacting with staff other than their assigned teacher. As they enter the classroom, the hands will be washed, and they'll be washed many times throughout the day. All right. Snack and lunch. They'll be socially and distanced for snack and lunch. And again, unfortunately, we are not able to heat up any of your child's lunch. We ask that you send children snack or lunch in containers that they can open themselves, if possible. This will reduce the need for staff to touch your child's snack or lunch. The rest time mats will be socially distanced for rest time and will be disinfected after each use every day. Your child may bring in a small blanket or in a stuffed animal. It must fit in a bag, a labeled bag, and be taken home and washed weekly. The children will enjoy scheduled recess on the playgrounds, time to run around and enjoy seeing their friends. The playground surfaces will be disinfected between each classroom's use. I think that is all now for early childhood, except we're looking forward to seeing all you very soon. Thank you.
Good evening. I am going to, so I'm Jessica Bishop. I'm the Vice Principal of the elementary school, as well as the admission director. So at the end, we're going to talk about that, our procedures with that. So if you have any questions, I am the person that you're going to want to reach out to for admissions. So for elementary school is our K through 5 school. We are going to be opening our doors a little earlier this year, a couple minutes to get them in. So K through 5 will be entering through their normal doors. For those of you that are new to our school, or maybe you're a preschooler moving into kindergarten, we use the doors on the side. For elementary school, that's our church entrance as well. So all elementary students in their classrooms by 8:30. So when you are coming at between 8:10 and 8:30, we're giving you 20 minutes to get them there. Students in grade 5, you've noticed that I've left them out. Our 5th grade this year is our biggest classroom, and therefore they're also our biggest, they're the oldest children in our school and larger in size. So we have converted our Family Life Center into their classroom. So they will be able to be nicely spaced out in there. So grade 5, instead of being dropped off at that main entrance, you'll be dropped off at the FLC, and somebody will be there to greet you as well. Students in grades 1 through 5 are required to wear masks during the day. So before they leave their car, they're going to be asked to have those masks already on. Kindergarten students are not required, but that is up to your discretion. At this time, we are not requiring that kindergarten children wear masks. For arriving as well, we're going to have more staff members out there than we've had in the past to get the children out of their cars and into the building. We will have children escorted, kindergartners down to their rooms as well as preschool. We are not allowing our parents into the building. When they arrive in their classroom, as with preschool, they'll be directed to their classroom sink to wash their hands. You're going to get more information about this shortly with Mrs. Baker. There's a web form that each child will have to have, that the parent will fill out for each child on your parent's web account. Before you drop it off, drop the children off, we'll need to see the completed web form. Tardies, for those of you familiar with elementary school, we have tardies. So after 8:30, they are considered late. And so please be aware this year, because we are spreading our preschoolers throughout the building to enter, one of those doors is the same doors that we were just using. So they are beginning at 8:35. So if you're tardy, you're going to be caught up in that preschool class coming in. So please make every effort to be on time this year. For leaving, it's going to be a little different. We're not going to bring the kids to the door this year, the whole class to the door, I should say. We will have them in their classrooms, and we're going to have identifiers for your cars. We will call each child down as you come to the school. And so if you have a 5th grader, we'll do the same thing for the 5th graders. You'll just scoot down to the FLC to pick them up there, and the rest will be at that same place that you had the entrance at. To help us get the children moving, we're going to have kindergarten beginning at 2, and then grades 1 through 5 will follow at 2:15. And all elementary students should be picked up no later than 2:30. We will have people throughout the building escorting the children and making sure that they're getting. We'll have staff members outside as well. Classroom setup. For grades 1 through 5, they have desks, and all of those desks will be spaced 3 to 6 feet apart. Depending on how many children and desks are in the room, we're going to try to utilize every inch of space that we can. Kindergarten students do not have desks. They're sitting at a table, but they will have a clear divider between them and another child. So each table only sits 2 children. For all children that are wearing masks, we will have mask breaks throughout the day. And also within their classroom, there'll be some designated mask break areas. As was mentioned before, with preschool, we are unable to heat up our lunches this year, so please just plan your lunches accordingly, and also plan to send them with things that they're able to manage on their own. That would just eliminate us having to touch everything. And also for lunch, if in the classroom during the day, if they're at, let's say, a 4 or 5 foot distance, because that's as much space we could get in that particular room, during lunch, we have overflow for lunch that we will be seated. We will have them seated 6 feet apart when they're eating lunch. That way they can take off their mask. And so we may have to move children to some overflow areas that we have already set up, but that's how we're going to manage that to get that 6 foot distance while masks are off. Recess for grades 1 through 5, again, the masks will remain on. Kindergarten at this time is not required. And also on the playground, we'll have designated mask break areas where the children will need to be distanced if they're standing there. And this year for recess, we're only going to have 1 class out at a time. So it won't be, our kindergarten classes typically have gone out together, or first grade, but this year it'll just be 1 class at a time. And with that, I'll hand it over to Kristen Baker, who is going to review. Some of this might be repeated, some of this will be added to, but it'll give you more information about our health and safety.
Okay, it wasn't letting me unmute myself. This slide, real quick, is just some definitions of the difference between sanitizing and disinfecting. When you see some of those words in the slides, our staff also has seen this and will be made aware of the difference moving forward. Here's a snapshot of the health screening you'll be asked to fill out. So parents and staff will be logging in to their parents' web portal. And with this system, you will click it for the first time you fill it out, if you're able to click all of these things, and it's clicked for the year. So you'll have to log in every day and save it. And ideally, if we could log in by 8 a.m., then we can print out a timestamped report and we'll know that you've clicked it daily. If you're unable to do it digitally, we will have to hold up our line, hold up our drop-off process, and have you fill one out on paper every day. So please try to do it digitally to speed along that drop-off process. And just real quick, some of this information has already been stated previously, so we'll go over it quickly. All of our employees will fill out the health screening digitally, and they will have their temperatures taken upon arrival. All employees are required to wear masks in preschool and elementary. And in addition to masks, the school is equipped with gloves, disposable gowns, and shields to use for changing children and interacting with children as other times as needed. Here's some snapshots of some things your children will be seeing throughout the building. For elementary, the face mask safety will be posted and your teachers will go over it in the first few days. It's just child friendly to help them learn how to use it. These hand washing posters will be up in the bathrooms and in the classrooms to kind of be uniform throughout the building, so they'll be used to seeing the same thing and, helping them wash their hands. And so at arrival, this is kind of mixed for both preschool and Elementary, all families must fill out the health screening form digitally. The children must have their mask on to exit their vehicles in grades 1 through 5. All students must wash their hands upon entering their classroom. Every classroom does have a sink for hand washing purposes, and hand sanitizer will be available to the children as needed. We will have it in all of our classrooms. Each child's belongings will be in an assigned spot, not touching another child's things, and coat hooks have been installed in the early childhood hallways to spread out their belongings a little bit more. Upon entering the classroom, the elementary children will go straight to their desks and tables, and the early childhood children will go to designated play areas or center areas that their teachers have for them in the morning. All shared supplies will be cleaned and sanitized after use, but our goal is to minimize the sharing of the supplies. All windows will be kept open as much as possible to circulate fresh air. In the cold months, we will have them open also, but our heating system, which was installed a few years ago, draws the air directly from the outside, so it will be fresh air pulled in. All sit-a-ponds that are used for kindergarten and early childhood will be cleaned and sanitized after use, so when they have circle time, rug time, story time, they'll be on these sit-a-ponds. All rest mats will be cleaned and disinfected after use, and all sleeping items will be individually labeled bags. For bathroom time, each toilet and sink will be cleaned and disinfected between each use. All students and staff must wash hands before leaving the bathroom. And on the playground, when structures are in use, they will be cleaned and sanitized between each group of children. For lunch and snack time, children must wash their hands before and after meal times. All food consumption areas will be cleaned and sanitized after use and disinfected. If potentially you have another child that might eat at the same table or desk, afterwards they'll be disinfected between children. At the end of the day, the staff will spray disinfectant on any shared supplies to dry overnight. All hard surfaces will be sprayed and disinfected overnight, including desks, tables, countertops, and doorknobs. In the event of illness, any student who does become ill during the school day will have their temperature taken. If the student has a fever of 100 or higher, they'll be removed from the classroom and isolated until they are picked up in a designated area. We are asking that all families have someone close by who can pick up a sick child if the parents are unable. It is our goal to have the child picked up within the half an hour. If the student does not have a fever but is exhibiting symptoms which impair their ability to be in school, we will call the parents and ask that the child be picked up. We will need the cooperation of all of our families to keep your child home if they are not feeling well. It's critical during the current COVID pandemic. This is just a quick slide to kind of give you an idea if you are hearing the words primary contact or secondary contact. A primary contact is someone who has the virus or who is diagnosed shortly after. A secondary contact is a direct contact with a primary contact. So our COVID policy, any confirmed cases of COVID-19 will be dealt with in accordance with the guidance from the town or city in which the person lives, along with the guidance from the Burlington Board of Health. So for our school, where we have students from different communities, the governing agency would be the town in which you reside, and they would work closely with the Burlington Board of Health on what the procedure would be. The guidelines do change frequently, but include self-quarantine, testing of primary contacts, closing the room for a period of 5 to 14 days, 5 days being the minimum after contact per DESI right now, as long as you can provide a negative COVID test, and 14 days if you choose not to have a test or have come down positive with COVID. We must be notified immediately if you suspect that your child or someone in your home has come in contact with a positive COVID-19 case. We must be notified immediately if your child or someone in your home tests positive for COVID-19. If a student tests positive for COVID-19, the class will immediately move to remote learning while the room is deep cleaned and disinfected.
Hi, my name is Misha Levitt, and I am going to talk about what Get Acquainted will look like this year. This year, Get Acquainted will need to be by appointment only. You'll be hearing from your teacher to schedule an appointment. Early childhood, your options will be September 1st, 3rd, or 4th, in kindergarten on September 2nd. There will be 1 to 2 families maximum scheduled at a time for a period of 20 to 30 minutes. Service agreements have gone out for the year. If you are a brand new family, that may just have gone out this week. But if you have not already received your service agreement, you should have. And if you've not returned it, please do so as soon as possible. We need your confirmation that you've received the information, and we'll be continuing to attend Mount Hope. Choosing not to return that service agreement does not withdraw your child. If you need to withdraw, please contact either myself or Mrs. Bishop. Early childhood families, we're asking you to double check the schedule on your service agreement, make sure it matches what you currently need, as that is what we are expecting your child to attend. And we just ask for your cooperation in communicating with us quickly, as we do have wait lists already established for classrooms. We do have a deadline of tomorrow by 3 p.m. If you've been waiting until this meeting to make a final decision, to withdraw or to stay, we do need to hear from you by 3 p.m. tomorrow. And if you are not yet re-enrolled, we're not able to hold a spot for your child after tomorrow at 3 p.m.
All right, thank you, Misha. We're going to ignore a little bit of this. We're not going to post your questions to Facebook. We're just going to go ahead and have you put them in the chat area. We will answer questions that are relevant to tonight's topics only. Please be mindful that the questions or comments you type will be visible to everybody. And so obviously, please refrain from using your student's name or teacher names. If you think of something later, you can always email questions to my email address, pahern@mounthope.org. I send out those weekly emails that you get, so you can just click respond and reply and give me your question, and we will answer it as soon as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing so that we can see the questions, but thank you for your prayers and support. We are certainly looking forward to a wonderful school year despite some of the challenges that we're facing. So let's see if you have any questions. I'm not seeing any. There we go. I believe, hold on one second, because I'm wondering. All right, I believe that the chat was turned off, so go ahead and try to type your messages now, please. It should be on. Chat. There we go. So, is there a remote learning option for early childhood? I'm going to ask Sutruji to go ahead and answer to that. Are you muted? You are muted. Hold on. All right, we'll move on to another question while she's getting that sorted out. Let's see. Any info on the new toddler building? We are very excited about the new toddler building. That the information for that will be presented directly to the toddler parents first, and then we will certainly be getting information out to everybody else. All right, I think Sue, are you good now?
think I am.
All right, awesome.
All right, I'll try to answer this question to the best of my ability. The teachers are preparing a COVID bag. So if we have to go out for any time or length of time, they will be prepared and be able to teach and be with your children on Zoom. We will have a daily plan of activities and some fun things maybe in the afternoon, a story night sometimes in the evening. In the morning would be a regularly scheduled time, say we'd all sign in about 9:30, and the 3-year-old program would probably be on for about an hour, and the 4-year-old program would be maybe about an hour and a half with lessons, and sometimes we play fun games or things like that, but we would definitely be able to provide your child with a great learning experience.
Okay. Let's see, what else do we have? If a family member tests positive but not the student, does the class close? So that's where we got into on that slide. We had primary and secondary contacts. Again, that's going to be more at the discretion of the Board of Health. They'll give us more directive, but as things stand right now, yes, there would be a brief closing and cleaning of the classroom. Let's see. Today's presentation, yes, you will get a copy of it, both in writing and I'm hoping the video as well. Preschool families are filling out the COVID checklist. All families, all staff fill that out.
Mrs. Ahern, we just missed a couple in between. One, our school dates are still starting the same. So September 8th was the preschool start date, and elementary is Wednesday, or 1 through 5 on the 2nd, and kindergarten on the 3rd. So those dates have not changed.
Thank you. I see a lot of you asking about meetings with the elementary teachers. That is something that we are working on and we are aware of. There's a lot of, this is going to be very different for students. So we are hoping to set up a little bit of a virtual meeting before they come into the building. And we're also working on a way for parents to have a quick little meeting, something like this, with the elementary teachers, so that you can kind of get to know how the classroom is going to run. In what situation will the whole school switch to remote learning? I think that is probably something better answered by Elaine Driscoll. Is she muted? We'll get her when she gets
She's
in
good.
there.
She's on.
There she is. Okay.
Last year, we went to a fully remote system when the Board of Health advised us to. When the contiguous communities closed down, we shut down. And as I said, we do lean on the Board of Health. When we have any suspect of any child being sick, any family being sick, we have a responsibility to call in, and under their advisement, we react.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. I'm trying to go through. We're not going to get a chance to answer all of these questions, but I'm trying to go through and find the ones that have the most people asking the same things. Let's see. Is school open tomorrow to return a service agreement? Yes, we will be there, and you can certainly drop that off to us. Will there be a hybrid remote option considered? Yes, we are aware that other schools are doing this. Elaine, I don't know if you would feel comfortable addressing that as well.
Yes, we are just at the very beginning phase of taking a look at monitors and cameras to be used so children can attend school while at home. But when I say that we are in the fledgling state of that, I'm going to be, we have purchased one camera for one room, and we're going to try it, see how it works. We have a very safe option to that hybrid plan. whereas I don't believe some of the other school departments or systems do. We are very spread out. Our toddlers are going to be across the street. Our 5th graders take the whole Family Life Center, which left us with overflow spaces, overflow classrooms. So children will have the space to spread out. And they will not be with other children in the building. They will only be with their own classroom each day. Grade 2 has a classroom and a half. Grade 3 has a classroom and a half. So at that point, we felt our best work was put into a fully in-school program. So that's really where we spent the majority of time, that and the home program, the virtual program, full day virtual. So we had not planned on a hybrid program initially, just in a fledgling state at this point.
Okay, thank you. A lot of questions about the phases. There are no dates for these phases, and that is something that we will get you more information on. But at this point, the phases are just sort of our plan for, okay, this is okay, let's move to what's next. There are no dates on those phases at this time.
I think, I don't know if somebody might have missed what we said about early care, aftercare. That's part of that second phase. So right now we're not opening the school year with extended care either in the morning or in the afternoon. But I think, and Ms. Driscoll did mention about us setting up some virtual after school things that the children could participate in, but it wouldn't be within the building.
There are a couple questions about if a family member or a student travel out of state or out of the country, that again would fall under the guidelines that are being put forth by the state. Right now, you know, there are several states that you can travel to, and there are quite a few that you can't. We are asking our staff to abide by those guidelines, and I would hope that our families would as well. There are a lot of questions here. We will certainly try to, if we cannot answer them tonight, we will try to get to them and answer them for you probably in next week's Wednesday email. I'm gonna see. Is there an option? Again, remote learning is something that we are just starting to look at. It is not something that we are planning as an option at this time. We are really focused on getting the children back in the building. We are aware that a lot of schools are choosing to not do this, but the reasons for our wanting the children to be in school, as Mrs. Driscoll has said many times, the children need to be in school. The social and emotional piece of this is a big piece of it. So that has been a driving force behind getting the children back to school. And we feel that we've been able to put together protocols and procedures that will keep everyone safe. I think that's probably where we should cut it off at this point. I'm gonna give you back to Elaine Driscoll so that she can maybe finish us out. And we, again, thank you for attending.
Yes, there was one question here. I thought that somebody was asking us about the maximum number. I can't read the question though. Do you have that one? I still would like to answer. Can you find the question, Pam?
I'm looking.
Okay, dear.
What do classroom sizes look like at this point? This was a question for preschool.
Sue, do you want to answer it? Because I can answer it where I'm on. We have our classrooms divided into 2 sections, right down the middle of each classroom at the preschool level, and we are dividing the children into 2 sections. And the most, and I could be wrong, but the most on one side would be 8. So we might have 8 and 8. We have the space to distance them 6 feet apart and do 8 and 8. That is the maximum. You're going to come to school some days and your children are going to have 5 on one side and 3 on the other. So the classes are spread out well.
For
It does ask,
elementary
there are some
school.
questions about maximum numbers of students in elementary.
Maximum numbers of student in elementary. My 5th grade has 20. They have the whole gym. They are divided into 2 sections of 10. There are 2 teachers in that classroom. I have 2 grade levels, grade 2 and grade 3, which are just about full. There are 14, I want to say, and 16, and we would cap it off at 16, but they're not all in one classroom. They're in a classroom and a half. So they would be working 8 and 8. Teacher would be teaching some would be doing seat work, and then they're back together. So we've got the children spread out well. We've got them spread out very well. And there's certainly enough staff. There's teachers, there's 2 teachers in just about every room in the building. It's really a situation, God willing, if we can stay in school, that would benefit each child academically as well, because of the small group work. I mean, to me, pupil-teacher ratio really is a very important factor in how quickly students grow and perform academically. And then, as I've said to you, I really am concerned about what this is doing to children socially and emotionally. So I've been looking at social and emotional curriculums and been talking with the teachers. I think it's a very important skill that children need at this level. We don't want them to go to high school and not be able to play a game with someone else because we've, taken some of those skills for granted. So it's important.
I'm going to ask, there's a bunch of questions here, concerns about those deadlines that we had put on there about tomorrow. Misha, if you could perhaps speak into those and clarify. People are asking, they said that it was originally 1 week before school starts. So can you just clarify the difference there?
We're waiving the 30-day withdrawal. Normally we ask you for 30 days notice to let us know if you're withdrawing or not. So that was given as a grace until the week before school begins. After that, you are responsible for 30 days from the time that you send in your notice. So we're still within that grace period. Tomorrow's deadline is a simple fact that we have wait lists for classrooms because people need their children in school and we need to be able to get back to people. So if you were waiting for this and you know the answer, we need to hear from you.
Thank you. I see a couple more questions, easy ones that I think we can answer real quick. There are 2 classrooms for 1st grade. Preschool hours are going to be a little bit different. You're going to get more notification about that next week when classrooms are assigned, because we do have those staggered starts and dismissals. So they're off by like 5 or 10 minutes. So it's generally, and I don't know, Sue, if you could help me out here because I don't remember the exact times. We don't have to go through all the times, but they start at 8:35.
5 the doors will open, yes, and it goes till 3.
Okay. And so you'll be staggered a little bit in there. And again, there will be more information on that next week.
I mean, I guess on that note too, if you are a preschool parent waiting for your classroom assignment, and that's also part of, I think, people making some decisions. We've heard from some people who are kind of waiting for this meeting. So they're making decisions on withdrawals or what have you, and that shifts our classrooms around a little bit. So, which is why we're waiting to kind of get those numbers and those names, and that way I can send those out by the beginning of next week. So you'd be receiving that in an email. There was a question with the COVID form, which if you're not familiar, you all have a parent's web. So if you are enrolled, you have a parent's web account. And in that parent's web account is where you're going to find that form. That's also where you're going to find your child's assignment. So it'll say you're in the red room or the green room or whatnot. So if you're unfamiliar or you don't know how to get on your parents' web, just reach out to one of us and we'd be happy to help you access it. But your parents' web account is really, you become familiar with that so that you can get a lot of our forms go out there, announcements go out there, calendars are up there. So.
I see some questions on moving the children throughout the building and bathrooms. We are working diligently on schedules. We are gonna try to keep classes to bathroom schedules as much as we can. Obviously, if a child needs to go in between, that's something that we'll navigate. We do not have all of that information right now. It's something that we are very much working on. But that is the plan, is to get them in their classes, one classroom at a time in the hallway, and move them around as safely as we can.
And the bathrooms are sanitized between each use.
Yeah.
We've purchased a 30-second set time sanitizer that is a spray and set. So between each use, it's a quick 30 seconds. So there's no huge wait time and they'll be sanitized and disinfected.
Okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and end it there. I see some suggestions here that we will certainly get back to. I think having an open forum Q&A is something that we will discuss and see if we can have that available to you. I think communication with our families is so important to us. We know that this is a tricky time and you need as much information as you can get, and we are trying really hard to provide you with as much information as we can without giving you information that isn't set, because decisions are being made and unmade and made again every day. Guidelines are changing every day. So we appreciate your patience with that.
Well, we love you guys. And I want to just end with a quick prayer because we began our meeting, our school year, and I always like to begin and end in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Jesus, for tonight. And we thank you, Father, for every family represented here. Father, we just ask you to continue to lead and guide us. Father, to keep our children safe, Father, and each family safe. Father, I thank you, Father, for their willingness to share their children with us in such tenuous situations, Father. Father, may we all do our best to stay safe. And Father, we ask that you keep us safe. And we love you, Lord, in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Well, send along your questions and answers. And if you need to speak with any of them, please pick up the phone. We're available. We've worked all the way through. And we're here to serve you any way that we possibly can. We love you all. Good evening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Could my team stay on so that I can take a look at some of the questions?
Yes.
Thank you.
One question.
Oh, me.
Just if you're 100 people, okay, then how do you know if she's waiting at you? How do you know the screen's on?
I know, so she is.
So in this case, you only have 100 people on it. No, I wonder if you could just begin. No.
We've done things on Facebook. We did the graduations.
Good.
Yeah.
that it?
I think that's it. Well, great job. Let's make sure everybody is off.
All right.
I'm going to stop recording real quick. Hold on.
Yep,
Yeah.
I did.